thank you so much for the nice introduction, Matteo. First of all, yeah, we're going to do the speech in English. I see already we have a couple internationals here as well, so excited for this. First of all, you guys, everybody warmed up? Everybody good? How are you guys feeling? Yeah? Let's do this once more. How are you guys feeling? Yes! That's it. That's the energy we need here, guys. So first of all, let's get a little feeling for the room, actually. Who of you is here for the first time at any of these shops? Say again? Microphone? Yeah. We'll get this fixed, but in the meantime, can you hear me in the back? No? Okay. Is it now? Good? Yeah. Thanks for the heads up in the back. Thank you, guys. So, once more. Who of you guys is here for the first time? Perfect. A couple. Who is here already 2 times or more? Who hasn't raised the hand when I asked? Good. Good stuff, guys. And another thing I want to ask you is, how many of you guys are somewhat in a service-based business? So service provider, agency owner, who are in service? Raise your hand. Got it. Okay. I think that's more than half. Who is in e-com? Who is a product that you guys are selling? Okay. 1, 2. Who is in software? Okay. All right. And who is somewhat in coaching, consulting? Yeah. Perfect. Good stuff. Cool. So I think most of you guys are actually in some form in a service business, agency, coaching, and so on. Then another question I have for you, who of you is a solopreneur? Who is mostly working by himself? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, who has 1 or 2 employees? 1 or 2. And who has more than 3 employees? Okay, got it. Amazing. So I think we have a really nice niche, a nice mix. And I want to show you at the start here a framework that I learned from a mentor of mine from the US. And this is helping you to identify what should you focus on in your business based on the monthly revenue. And we're talking here service-based businesses, okay? So agencies, consulting, coaching, all right? And if you look at this, there's mostly, on the scale to 7 figures, so we're talking 100K per month in revenue. There's mostly 0 to 10K, 10 to 25K, 25 to 50, and 50 to 100K. Okay, so let's quickly go through this here. Usually, when you're between 0 and 10K per month, what you should focus on mostly is like habits, routines, strong daily execution, because the question is more about how to stop noise and just execute better. And the focus should really be on marketing and sales. Just get more clients. That's all you should focusing on. Remove the noise, do more, do it better, don't overthink it, get more clients, okay? And then once you're at like this 10 to 25K, then you probably realize, okay, I need to have more market and avatar clarity. My offer needs to be more specific so I can streamline fulfillment. So I don't do different stuff for everybody, right? So making sure that it's very specific and I can streamline fulfillment, don't need to offer a different service for different people. And then the question becomes what niche and service to specialize in. And then from there, the focus should be for you creating an irresistible offer that is so good that it brings in more sales and that you can then from there hire and delegate a lot of the work because it's always the same, it's always streamlined, okay? Then from 25 to 50K, you need to then leverage your lead gen and your sales much more. Then the question becomes how do you get more clients while still making sure that you keep quality fulfillment, okay? This is then this tough balance, you want more clients, but keeping the quality high that you deliver. And the focus should then be on creating processes, systematized sales and lead gen, and making sure that you do even more hiring. And then the final stage here is the 50 to 100K bracket. And then the question really becomes how can you get out of the operations as the owner and systematize your agency or your service business even more. And then the question is not like how do you get more ahead, but how does your team get you ahead more? So the question becomes much more about team and how your team does get you ahead. And then the focus should really be building an A-player team and building an A-player culture. Okay? So I hope you've seen or found yourself, maybe some of you guys are already over 100K per month in revenue, But on that journey here, you probably found yourself somewhere where your focus is on right now. And what we are going to dive into today are 6 pillars that you need if you want to scale efficiently along this journey, especially when you're already making those 10K per month and you already have clients and you're already working well with them. How can you scale efficiently without being stuck in the operations? Okay, that's what we're going to go through today, which is efficient agency scaling, so you're not stuck inside that and can actually have more time and less stress while you scale your business. Okay, quickly about me, as Matteo already said, I've been doing this for over 4, nearly 5 years now. We work with a lot of agency and also brand owners from the US and Europe all around the world. And what we focus on mostly is helping not only the founder be more efficient and be more dialed in, that's what I gave speeches about in the past, but also helping their team in their execution and the processes to be more dialed in as well. So you can scale your agency more efficiently, make more money, have more time, and have less stress along the way. Okay? Now, these are going to be the 6 pillars we're going to talk about today. And I want to give a huge shout out to Gino Wickman from the book Traction. A lot of this is from this book, and I highly recommend you to check out the book Traction if you want to write this down. Super important book for entrepreneurs, highly recommended. And these are the main 6 pillars that we see a lot of businesses neglect when it comes to scaling more efficiently. Okay, so we're going to go into those, because if you don't have these 6 pillars, what's going to happen is you'll be stuck inside the operations, and then you'll feel stressed, frustrated, overwhelmed, distracted, unorganized, or just unclear and unfocused. And that's what we want to avoid. Now, let's dive into the first pillar here. And the first pillar is your vision. You probably have heard vision a lot, right? It's like, yeah, have a vision for your company. Sounds a bit woo-woo, but it's actually much more important, much deeper than that. Now, to define your vision, you're actually defining the fundamentals of your company. Really what you stand for and what you want to achieve, let's say in your agency. And to figure this out, there are 8 main questions that you have to answer to figure really out what your company's fundamentals are. Okay? We're going to go through those step by step. And as a little teaser, we have created Notion templates for all of this. As you can see, these are screenshots from Notion. And at the end, you will get access to all of those. I would still recommend you to take screenshots and take notes. But if you stay until the end, we have a chance for you to get access to those so that you can get through these exercises yourself. Okay? So these questions are core values, core focus, 10-year target, marketing strategy, 3-year picture, 1-year plan, milestones, and issues. So we go through those step by step. Okay? This here is what is called the VTO organizer, the Vision and Traction Organizer. So this is one Notion page which shows all of these points in one simple view. So this is one base document of your business. If you fill all of this out, your whole team knows what you stand for, your whole team knows what the goal is, your whole team knows what is the 3-year picture, what is the 1-year plan, what are the milestones for the quarter, what are the issues we need to work on, what's really our positioning as a business, and what is our culture, what is our focus, what is our niche, all of that. So we're going to go through a few of those, help you how you can fill this out for yourself, and you get access to this template so you can use this for yourself and use it as company documentation for your teams. Super important stuff. So the first one, we get started here on the top, as you can see, the core values. Okay? Before we dive in, I want to ask you guys, who of you has already heard about core values in the company? Amazing, a lot of you guys. Who of you has also defined them and have them visible in company documentation? All right, a bit less. And who of you guys would say, if I were to go to your team and I would wake them up at 5 a.m. and ask them, hey, what are the core values of the business you're working for? How many of you would be able to say, yes, the team knows exactly what the core values are? Already a bit less. Michelle still got it. Super nice, Michelle. So this is super important. So let's dive into what are core values. Here's an example of our values at Consistent Performance. Highest standards, full ownership, constant improvement, efficiency, practice what we preach, and positive attitude. So core values are the behaviors that you expect from your team to be playing at a high level. So values are, in a nutshell, the guidelines that you expect your team to adhere by so that you can perform and dominate in your market and, perform the best way possible. Okay? And so there are these guiding principles. Usually you have 3 to 6, ideally 5 or less. And it's so important to have them because without having them clearly defined, you're going to attract the wrong type of people in your team. And this is the worst mistake you can do. You can have all the best hiring strategies and you hire extremely skilled people, but if they are not a fit for your culture and they don't live in line with the values, you're going to have huge issues, huge drama. They will come to you to solve all problems. You'll stuck in the operations. They don't solve issues by themselves. And that's why it's so important that you have clearly identified who are people that are in line with your culture and who are people that don't fit at all. They should be working somewhere else. This is hugely important if you want to scale. And then once you identified this, then you do the hiring and the firing and the rewarding in line with these values. So you communicate these values not only during team meetings, you reward people and say, hey, big shout out to him, great example, he took full ownership, solved these issues by himself and reinforced these values. But you also say in the hiring process, these are the values we're looking for and you screen for them before you get someone on board. Super important, that way you reduce the mishires and that they leave you again after a few months because you identify they're not a good fit. Okay, super important, the values. Now then let's go deeper into that. Core focus and marketing strategy and target as your agency or service business. This is something we have seen a lot of people struggle with because let's be real, there's so many agencies out there, so many services business out there. And the question really is, how do you position yourself and how do you set yourself apart from other service businesses and agencies out there, or coachings, consultings, anything really. And so the first one is you should get clear on what's your core focus. And you can ask yourself, ask yourself the question, why do you exist? What's you can say it, the mission that you provide, but specifically, what problems do you solve and why do you exist? Don't just say, hey, we do social media or we do SEO. That's not a mission, You need to be very clear, for example, that you say we provide 1% email marketing services to D2C brands in the health space in the UK, right? This is much more dialed in. And then you can really say, of course, with the promise we're going into, what services you provide. Now, the second part is then the niche, exactly who you're helping. And then from there, the target market and the avatar. What problems do they have? What pain points are you solving? Okay, what do they have all in common? Super important as an agency to identify this. Otherwise, you will just do different things for everybody. And you can't streamline operations. And then from there, you'll be stuck inside there and you do different stuff for everybody. And also, the big problem we see is your messaging doesn't convert. Then what happens is you only get clients from referrals because they know, like, and trust you. But once you get into cold outreach, into cold email, it's like, yeah, why should I answer your cold email? Like, what sets you apart, right? Why should I work with you? If there's no clear niche, no clear avatar defined, and especially these things, the 3 uniques, the promise guarantee, and your proven process. If you don't have these, it's like, why should I work with your agency? There's like 1 million agencies out there, why should I work with you? Okay, so we've done this with some of our clients and they struggle with 3 uniques as well. But ask yourself, if you have clients already, you should be interviewing them. You should be surveying them. You should ask them, especially if they stay with you already for a longer time, why do you work with us? What is something that you enjoy in our agency that maybe other agencies didn't do well? What do you think do we do better than other agencies? And this gives you ideas already what sets you apart, what makes you unique. Usually it's experience that you have in the field, a better process, you keep the customers longer, you have better reporting, you have specific skills or specific systems. And these 3 uniques should be communicated. We had, for example, one client, they said, yeah, they don't really know what their uniques are. And then we figured out that their clients stayed with them super long, on average 2 or 3 years, while in their niche that they were specializing in was common that client, they had maybe 6 months on average that they stayed with an agency. And that's a unique that you can communicate, that on average, they stay really long because they really enjoy the service and they get higher returns, for example, So that's super important that you define your 3 uniques for your agency and you communicate them in your marketing. And then the second 2 are your promise and your guarantee. This goes back to what I said before, to your mission. What can you promise? Sometimes I talk to agencies and they say, yeah, we'll help you with your social media, or we'll help you with your website. And I'm like, yeah, but what do I get from this? And especially, of course, if you come from referrals, then it's not so important because they trust you already. But if you want to go into scaling through cold outbound, calling people, cold email, cold outreach, you need to have a clear promise. What exactly are you providing? Let's say, we'll help you increase your conversion rate by 5% in the next 60 days, or we work for free until you do. Like, that's a clear promise, that's a clear guarantee. And then, from there, you can still qualify people and say, maybe you can't promise it to them, but you can get them on a call to see at least you have a conversation with them. Okay, so you don't need to promise and guarantee that to everybody, but it should be in your marketing so that you can attract people at least to a sales call. Okay, so that's super powerful, promise, guarantee. And then the final piece is your proven process. This is really, how do you deliver the service to your clients? It's almost like a proprietary system, that you then use in the marketing and on the sales call to prove to people, we're always doing that, systematized 1, 2, 3, and people get results. It's like really predictable, okay? And then once you give it fancy names and you give it maybe a proprietary name, then it's also separating yourself again from other agencies, from other services that do something similar, okay? So we have exercises here in the Notion that you can get later, where you have exercises here in this toggle list, where you can come up with all of these yourself, okay? So we'll give you more examples how you can define all of this for your own business. Then the rest after this will be then the 3-year picture and the 1-year plan. I will just go through this in a short way, because once you know where you're heading, basically, I would also say the 10-year target I didn't discuss yet. The 10-year target is a big number that is really inspiring for your team members. So one example would be, you could say, we want to hit a certain revenue number. In 10 years, we want to get to 1 billion in revenue generated for our brands, for example. Super inspiring number. Should be so big that it almost seems impossible. Or you do something that's impact driven. We had people that said, our 10-year target is to provide, we had e-com brands, 1 billion in revenue, and then go ahead and fund 100 schools that make an impact in the education system, right? Why is it important to have a big crazy goal like this? Because it usually attracts employees who also are in line with a mission like this, who are driven by big numbers, who want to make big things happen. Even if you just think about 5 years ahead, set a 5-year target, but make it big. Set a big number connected to it, revenue related, customers transformed, right? A big number that really makes you think big and not just think small in like the next 6 months. Okay, once you have that big number, then you start breaking it down into a 3-year picture and then into a 1-year plan, quarterly rocks, and the issues that need to be solved to get there. Okay, let's go through it with the 1-year plan. You have a future date, so let's say end of December 2024. Revenue should be at, let's say you want to say in total you have 1.2 million revenue collected, profit from that, margin maybe 30%, 35%, and then measurables. What are the measurables that you need to keep track of to be able to hit that? Usually it's things like sales calls generated, new customers onboarded, churn rate, and things like that. And then from there you set goals for the year. And with these goals for the year, you then break them down into quarterly rocks and set rocks and big needle movers to complete every quarter. And then from there, you write down the issues and talk about the issues that need to be solved. But we go into that in a second later in the presentation. Okay? So these are the 8 questions for you to answer, and we will give you all the exercises also at the end. Now, you have the vision, you have 8 questions. It's important that you document and organize this in something like Notion, and it should be shared by all. They should have access to this, that the team can see it and that you review this regularly throughout your meetings, weekly meetings, monthly meetings, quarterly meetings. Now, let's go into the next pillar. The next pillar is going to be people, all right? Now, one important question you should ask yourself, not only before you start hiring, but especially if you already have people in place, did you hire the right people? Okay? And there's a tool which we call the People Analyzer. And what you basically do is you define the values and the behaviors that you expect in your team. Okay? So you put them here, you say like, oh, there we go. So here you put the name of the person here, you write down the values that you want to have represented in your company. So for example, full ownership, honesty, customer-centric approach. You could also say something like, takes fast action, takes massive action, or things that are important for your business, the behaviors that you expect. And then you rate them plus minus is neutral, and minus is not living in line with this. And if you figure out that most of your employees are not living in line with these values in your company, you need to replace them because they're going to hold you back long term. Because if you have values defined that are core to the success of your business and people are not living in line with them, you obviously can have a conversation about that and bring it up with them. But if they don't make any effort to improve and they don't live in line with these values, they have to go. Then the second part of it is the get it, want it, and capacity to do it exercise. Now, the GWC. And so after you've defined here the values, you have 3 categories. Does the person get it? Does the person understand the role, the culture, the systems, the pace? So basically, if you give them the training, do they understand what's happening, what they have to do? Then, do they want it? Do they genuinely like to do the job? And the third part is, do they have the capacity? So this is all about the skill and the expertise to actually execute and do the job well. And then basically you do the same thing here. You answer here with a simple yes or no. Do they get it? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity to do it? Very simple. And then same thing here again is, if you have too many no's in here, either the person is not in the right seat, the person should be doing something different. For example, they get it and they have a capacity to do it, but they're not wanting to do this job. Then it might be that they're a good fit for your company, but they may be in the wrong seat. But if they're lacking the capacity, then it's often a time you should ask yourself, do they have the right skill? Do they need to be trained more? And if they don't get it, then the question is your SOPs, are your training styled in? Okay? So this really helps you to understand what the issue is. Sometimes it's the person, they need to be trained better. Sometimes it's a culture problem. And sometimes you should take ownership and say, we didn't provide proper training for them. It's actually our fault here. Okay? Super important to make this analysis once and see, do you have the right people in the right seat? Another thing is an accountability chart. So we have a few examples here. They can also be set up in Notion very nicely. Once you're just a few people in your team, it doesn't really matter. But once you grow your team, the question is, how many people who is responsible for what in your team? Especially once you have like 10, 20, 30 people, new people come on board, how does everybody know what they're accountable for, what they're responsible for? Because otherwise some people do stuff that is the responsibility of someone else on the team. And an easy way to visualize that is have an accountability chart, something like in Lucid chart, where you have the function, here lined up, and then you have the levels and the departments inside your company easily visualized in one place in your company documentation. Okay? So with that, you have people, making sure that you have the right people and you have them in the right seats. Very important. Then the third part is data. So you know your vision, you have good fundamentals in your company, you know your offer, your marketing, you have the right people in the right seats. A big issue we see then is that you don't track your data enough. And with a lack of data tracking, you don't know if what you're doing is actually working. And so what we have here is something called a scorecard. And we see a lot of businesses not have anything like this in place, where they regularly track the important metrics inside their business. For example, weekly revenue, cash balances, weekly sales activities, customer satisfaction and problems, client project, production statuses. Depends, of course, on your business, what your key metrics are, but they should be tracked. Let me show you an example. This is from a client there in e-com, and they have, for example, their key KPIs like customer acquisition cost, average order value, net promoter score, inventory profit. On a weekly basis, they have the department connected to it, the person accountable for the number, and the goal for that week, and then they have what they achieved in that week and how much they were off in terms of the number. It's very simple to set up, but it's super important because it makes sure that you have clear accountability of the numbers in your business. Okay? So there's different ways to set this up. You can set this up with Notion, with the scorecard, very simple here. There's another few examples of KPIs. You have the goal, and then you have what you have hit in that week. The key is that you review that scorecard every week to ensure you're on track with the goals you set. And we give you here a template that you can duplicate into your own Notion. You can just create a new scorecard like this. And for your agency, you could set it up. You have the person, let's say someone in sales. What is the measurable they're responsible for? For example, outbound dials done, or you could say appointments generated. And you have set a goal for that week, and then they have to write down here the number every week, what number they have achieved. And this gets reviewed every single week. Always, everybody has to have one number they're responsible for. Like in this book, that's super interesting. They said even the receptionist, if you have a big business, the person at the door should have one number they're responsible for. Because then you're really tracking, okay, are we controlling what the people are the people doing the right thing? Are they hitting the numbers we need to hit to be able to hit our goals? Without that clarity, you never know what's the problem, okay? Super important, one person, everybody has one number and one thing they're responsible for and a goal for every week. And then you track it in here and talk about it in the weekly meetings. Then we have the data, we have the scorecard, and we have measurables defined that are in line with what you want to achieve. Then, are you guys, quick question, because we already advanced in time. Does it make sense for you guys so far? Good? Good stuff. Then let's continue. The rest will be a bit faster. The fourth pillar is the issues. And for the issues, it's super cool, as you've shown here before, to have an issues list. And then we have 3 types of issues list. We have one big issues list inside your VTO, which is the whole vision and traction organizer, where you basically collect all the big problems in your business that maybe don't have to be solved right now, that are important but maybe not so urgent, and you collect them inside there. Then you have the issues list, that would be here. And then you have the issues list in your weekly team meeting, which is basically that you collect more of these important and urgent things that need to be solved. So you document this nicely and allow people to collect them and go through them step by step and discuss them on the team meeting. Then we use one framework in the meetings to solve these issues, which is identify, discuss, and solve. We'll want that in a second. So then you have your issues defined, and then one important thing is processes. This is where a lot of agencies are lacking, in my opinion, and don't have them properly documented or followed by all. You might have some processes, but they're outdated, or people are not using them properly, and that's a huge issue. So key is, you have, for example, that's what we do in our company home here, you have a SOP and knowledge base that's easily accessible for everybody. And then in here, you can easily set up by department a filter. For example, that's for our client success here. We have all the SOPs in here. These are a few examples. There's more. And then you have the department who is responsible, the frequency, the tool, the tags, who it was edited by, and who needs to do the SOP. And that way you have an easy database where you can add all your SOPs in there. Then this is an example of a template you can use to have your SOPs, the whole index, purpose, context, definitions, a Loom video going through the SOP, then the high-level overview, step-by-step process, keep in mind how to report, done. Someone comes in, records a Loom video, everything is nicely documented, and you easily make sure that everything is in the right place. Important, followed by all, so make sure that it is easily accessible and that you also talk about these processes at least once per month and set the expectation that people actually update the SOPs. Now, the final piece, and then we're already through the 6 pillars, is what is called traction. And traction really stands for proper goal setting and breaking down of the goals that we set, and then following through with them on the meetings. Okay? So how does that look like? Obviously, you have big yearly goals, but a lot of people, they don't follow through with quarterly rocks. So quarterly rocks are clearly defining, similar to OKRs, what is the outcome I try to achieve, and what's the key result that needs to be hit, a measurable target, to be able to know that we are on track. They need to belong to the 10-year targets or 3-year pictures, move the needle for the company, and they should be complete before the next quarterly meeting. Let me show you a template for this. This is another really nice template you can use in your company. You define the rocks. So let's say you have a 1-year target. One rock could be for the quarter to dial in cold email or to dial in a new VSL funnel, right? Could be one big rock, takes usually a bit longer, is a frame for a few months. And then you assign the rock to one person who is responsible for the completion. And then down here, you can make sure how many rocks are distributed in that quarter to each person. So you have a nice overview who in the team is responsible for what big rock that moves the business forward. Okay? And then the final piece is the meetings. This is where I think a lot of people can make them more efficient. A good structure is that you have quarterly meetings. They can be an offsite of 1 day. Annual meetings, they can even be longer, like you lock yourself in a hotel with your whole team. And then you have weekly meetings, which are on a weekly basis around an hour. We have here an example of what you can implement in terms of the agenda. And we have also here a template you can use for your own team, for your own weekly meetings. So it starts with good news. You link the scorecard that we discussed here, go over the numbers, make sure everybody's numbers are tracked and everybody hits the numbers that are key. And then you go into identifying, discussing, and solving the major issues. Why were the numbers not hit? What's the problem? What's happening in the agency? Okay? With this setup, you will be able to then also generate new ideas. What can we do to impact more people? And then you conclude the meeting with to-dos. And one key hack I want to give you, ask everybody in the team, how would you rate the meeting on a scale of 1 to 10? You know, that way you can see if a meeting was inefficient, what can we improve to make the meetings more efficient in the future, and then people enjoy the meetings more as well. Super nice hack you can implement. So this wraps it up. These are the 6 pillars for you to scale your agency to 100K without being stuck in the operations. And finally, I have an exclusive gift for you. As I said, if you want all of these templates here, we provided all of this ready in Notion for you. You have a whole checkup score. You have all the pillars with all the exercises and all the templates in here. So you guys can take it, plug and play it into your Notion, into your business, and have good fun with it. And so here's the score for you. That's my gift for you. Scan the code now with your phone. Get all the templates totally, completely for free. And then, yeah, have fun with that. Let me know if you have any questions on the templates. And then I'm happy to see you guys scale with less stress and more efficiently. Thank you so much, guys. Awesome.
Awesome, thanks. So unfortunately, due to the timing, I will recommend you highly to talk with Kilian later. I think you're at the lunch in the room. Yeah, so the whole day you're here?
I'm here, yeah.
Until Sunday. So awesome. So we have plenty of time to talk with him. And yeah, all
Thank you so much.